day.
We will all be together again.
All right then. Good morning. It's 9 o'clock, and I want to welcome you to the Tuesday, January 12th meeting of the Lancaster County Board of Commissioners. I am Chair of the Board, Rick Vest. Joining me via Zoom is Vice Chair Deb Shore, Commissioner Roma Odmundson, Commissioner Sean Flowerday, and Commissioner Krista Yoakum. Will you rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Mr. Clerk, please begin.
A copy of the Nebraska Open Meetings Act is located on the wall at the rear of the hearing room. Additionally, a copy of our written material to be discussed at today's open meeting is available in room 112. The material can also be viewed on the county's website at lancaster.ne.gov. Agenda item 1 are minutes. Approve the minutes of the Board of Commissioners meeting held on Tuesday, January 5th, 2021.
Move approval. Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the minutes of the last meeting. Any further discussion? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Shore,
Yes.
Amundson,
Yes.
Yoakum,
Yes.
Flowerday,
Yes.
Vest.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. Next is number 2, claims. 2A is amendment of the payroll claims report previously approved on January 5th, 2021.
Move approval. Second.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve item 2A. Any discussion? Please.
Hey, Commissioner Vest, we're really having trouble hearing you, at least I am.
Yes, that is true.
Is that a bad thing? All right. I will move my microphone closer. Does that help, Sean?
Quite a bit.
Yes.
All right. Very good. We have a motion and a second to approve item 2A. Any further discussion? Please call the roll.
Flowerday,
Yes.
Shore,
Yes.
Amundson,
Yes.
Yoakum,
Yes.
Vest.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. B is approval of all claims processed through January 12th, 2021.
Move approval.
Second?
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Yoakum,
Yes.
Flowerday,
Yes.
Shore,
Yes.
Amundson,
Yes.
Vest.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. Next are consent items. These are routine business items that are expected to be adopted without dissent. Any individual item may be removed for special discussion and consideration by a commissioner or by any member of the public without prior notice. Unless there's an exception, these items will be approved as one with a single vote of the Board of Commissioners. These items are approval of amendment to the following county contracts. C-12-703 with Cellco Partnership doing business as Verizon Wireless to provide wireless voice service, wireless broadband service, accessories, and equipment. C-18-13 with Hood Masters, Inc. for annual service, kitchen, exhaust, hood, and equipment cleaning. C-18-66 with Jim Peterson Auction Company for unclaimed property auction services. C-20-733 with Public Health Management Corporation for Ramp Plus software for the Lancaster County Adult Drug Court to match offenders with appropriate services for improved public safety and public health. Amendments to the following administrative service agreement between the county, Prudential Retirement Insurance, and Annuity Company to reflect a reduction in Prudential's fee from 7.5 basis points to 6.5 basis points effective January 1st, 2021. This is C-8. That's 663, Lancaster County, Nebraska Employees Retirement Plan. C-8-664, Lancaster County, Nebraska 457 Deferred Compensation Plan. Right-of-way contracts with the following: Wayne, Harlan, and Norma Norby Hageman Irrevocable Family Trust, south 148th Street and Pioneer Boulevard, in the amount of $4,399. Linda Hammer Living Trust, north 148th Street and Agnew Road, in the amount of $613. Received and placed on file the monthly reports for December 2020. Records and Information Management, Clerk of the District Court, Assessor Register of Deeds, County Clerk. Received and placed on file a letter from the District Energy Corporation regarding the issuance of long-term bonds.
I will move approval of the consent items.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the consent items. Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Amundson,
Yes.
Yocum,
Yes.
Flowerday,
You're muted. You're muted, Sean.
Yes.
Shore,
Yes.
Vest.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. Number 4 is a public hearing. This is amendment to Article 4-005H of the Lancaster County zoning regulations relating to farm wineries by allowing craft breweries as an accessory to a farm winery.
Okay, we will open the public hearing. And I see that we have been joined by Steve Henriksen from the Planning Department. Steve, did you want to speak on this item?
Excuse me for being a few moments late. This was a farm winery item.
Yes.
First,
Yes.
I'm going to need to swear you in. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay.
Steve Hendrickson with the Planning Department. We previously had a briefing on this item that went over the overall details, but generally the applicant, Dale Lillyhorn, who has an existing farm winery, is interested in selling that. He's had people approach him about purchasing it, but a few of them had expressed an interest in having an accessory craft beer sales on site for the customers who are not as excited about having wine, but are there with friends who are probably. And so we thought that made sense as an accessory use. And so the text amendment before you sets up some conditions to make sure that it is kept accessory and doesn't become really the primary use, because farm wineries operate kind of at a different scale than perhaps often a commercial brewery, which often has a much higher production necessary, gets more into almost kind of an industrial use and typically how they're operating. So with the conditions as offered, Planning Commission recommended unanimous approval. We haven't had anyone state any opposition for it, so we recommend approval.
Thank you, Steve. Very good. Moving on, is the applicant present this morning? I'm not seeing an applicant, so we will move on. Is there anyone here who would like to speak in favor as a proponent of this proposed action? Okay, no one. Is there anyone here who would like to speak in opposition to this proposed action? No. Anyone who would like to speak in a neutral capacity? We have a distinguished gentleman coming forward to share with us.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth and nothing but the truth?
I do. Jim Ballard with James Arthur Vineyards in Raymond, Nebraska. Chairman Vest, members of the board. This is kind of a strange surrounding setting here, but no, I'm speaking today. I'm not against this. In fact, Mr. Lillyhorn came to me early in the process and asked me what I thought of the idea, and I said, I think it's a great idea. I have no problems with that whatsoever. I guess, and I apologize, I'm kind of late to the party here. I kind of lost track of where everything was at in the process, and it looks like the Planning Commission has done due diligence and is making that recommendation for approval. I just would like to bring up an idea, and I don't have any interest in starting a microbrewery at James Arthur Vineyards. That's the least thing. But I have looked at my long-range plan, my long-term plan, and have entertained the idea of a micro distillery. And I thought, since we're in this process, and I don't know what that looks like, but to take since the Planning Commission has done a lot of work on the brewery side of things, if we could add some language or addition to this change and add micro distilleries to that process as well. In the research that I've done, it looks like that the distillery would be in the same vein as the brewery, and we'd have to change some rules and regulations for that. So I just wanted to bring that to the table, something that I think could benefit any winery, any distillery, or any winery, any brewery in the county as well. Again, it wouldn't be the primary focus of the business, but it would also add another added stream of revenue, possibly for our winery, for example. So I just wanted to bring that to the table to maybe have the board look that over, and as a possibility of adding language for micro distillery as well as microbrewery to this. So.
Well, thank you for being here this morning, Jim. We appreciate
Thank you.
that input. And I would imagine, I'm going to call on Steve here just a minute. Steve, would that require us to go back through the process to add language like Jim's proposing?
Yes, I think so. I think just in order to make sure we had the Planning Commission and other agencies comment on a use that is a little bit different. We had talked about that in terms of, we haven't had anyone come forward yet with a micro distillery. In the city, we've had a few inquiries about it, but no one proceeded forward yet, other than the downtown district, where it would have been allowed. But yes, I think since it would be a little bit different in terms of how it might operate, it might be something for us to consider in the future. The applicant in this case, Mr. Lillyhorn, was mostly just focused on the microbrewery and not other accessory uses.
Distillery. Commissioner Shore.
Two questions. Jim, I think I understand what a micro distillery is, but if you could just give us a little bit of overview as to what that would be and how it might look and function, and ideas you have for your entity specifically with long-term plans.
Sure. A micro distillery would be the same as a microbrewery or a farm winery. Basically, it's a boutique distillery which would have spirits. It could be the white spirits such as vodka, white rum, things of that nature. Most distilleries that are in Nebraska right now start with that, and then they work their way into whiskeys and bourbons and things of that nature. So basically the same concept, just a different product. In my mind, something I've been looking at with our operation for a few years now is how we can continue to expand, create new markets, not just a winery, but an experience. I think that's how we're going to survive in the market today, is creating an experience for people to come out, not only enjoy the wine, but our live music, our events, and a micro distillery would be another part of that experience. It's in my 5-year plan right now. Whether or not that'll come to fruition, you never know, especially in the environment we're in today. But basically, it would be just an auxiliary operation to the winery. Again, we just started making hard cider, which we can do under our farm winery license. Again, another market, another experience for people in our community to enjoy. So that's kind of what I had in mind. And again, I apologize. Like I said, I kind of lost track of where things were at. And I don't want to slow down the process on this, because I know with Dale, this is something that's very important to him. And in order to sell his winery, which I know he's trying to do, this is a key component of that. But and I'm more than willing to sit down with someone and start that process. I should have probably thought about that earlier on, that we could have just killed two birds with one stone, I guess, going through this. But I just wanted to get a feel for if that was something that would even be possible.
And we have our attorney stepping forward here.
Yeah, I was just going to go along with what Steve said. Because of where we're at in this process, it would be better, to let this go through, since it's gone through the proper review, and it already went through Planning Commission. But if you want to work through an application on your own, you can work with the Planning Department, and it would go through that same process and have that same thought and input put into it.
Okay, that sounds good. And that's kind of what I thought we would be at, but I didn't know for sure. So
I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Any other questions, commissioners, for Mr. Ballard? Jim, thank you for being here
Thank
this
you.
morning and putting this before us. That would be the neutral capacity. Steve, anything further from your part?
No, but certainly if Mr. Ballard is interested, he can contact us and we'd be happy to sit down and talk about another text amendment that might work for him and other operators in the county as well.
Very good. With that, I will close the public hearing.
Should we go on and vote on that resolution?
Yeah, that's fine. Let's do.
This would be under new business 6A, a resolution in matter of amending Article 4-005H of the Lancaster County zoning regulations relating to farm wineries by allowing microbreweries as an accessory to a farm winery.
I move approval.
Second?
We have a motion and a second to approve this. Any further discussion? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Shore,
Yes.
Amundson,
Yes.
Yocum,
Yes.
Flowerday,
Yes.
Vest.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. Next is number 5. This is a special presentation. This is a proclamation declaring January 12, 2021 as the 50th anniversary of the Lancaster County Public Defender's Office. Joe Nigro, Lancaster County Public Defender.
Before we read the proclamation and hear a few short words from Joe, and I'm not seeing the other gentleman yet, but I just wanted to say this is a special day in our county. We mark the 50th anniversary of the Public Defender's Office operating in Lancaster County. As we all know, the call to seek justice in our society is a strong one and a challenging one at the same time. And we're just very fortunate that someone in our county's past was farsighted enough to take this step 50 years ago. Mr. Clerk, would you read the resolution?
Whereas the Lancaster County Public Defender, T. Clement Gahn, was appointed on January 12, 1971. Whereas the Lancaster County Public Defender's Office has been in service for 50 years under the director of T. Clement Gahn, Dennis Keefe, and Joe Nigro. Whereas the Lancaster County Public Defender's Office has opened approximately 200,000 cases and it has represented tens of thousands of clients in the past 50 years. Whereas the Lancaster County Public Defender's Office was one of the first such offices in the nation to adopt a case management system that helped to establish workload standards for its attorneys in 2008. And whereas the attorneys of the Lancaster County Public Defender's Office have been recognized as fierce advocates who provide outstanding representation, now, therefore, the Board of County Commissioners of the County of Lancaster, Nebraska, does hereby proclaim January 12, 2021 as Lancaster County Public Defender Recognition Day and encourages residents of our community to learn more about the services provided by the Lancaster County Public Defender's Office and its history, dated January 12, 2021.
Very good. Mr. Nigro, would you like to say a few words at this time?
Sure, but Dennis Keefe is on, and I would let Dennis go first.
Okay, Mr. Keefe, welcome. We're glad you came to us via Zoom.
Is that because I'm older, Joe? That's no. I just want to thank you for recognizing the 50th anniversary. I want to congratulate everybody in the Public Defender's Office who served there over the years and provided service to clients. Such an important function and not always appreciated. And I think it's a good thing to also thank the people who have locally made sure that the office served its function properly and funded it properly. So many county commissioners over the years have protected the office, and I appreciate all that work too. So thank you for recognizing the 50th anniversary, and congratulations to everybody in the office today and who have served in the past.
Thank you, Mr. Keefe, and thank you for your service to the citizens of our county. Now, Mr. Nigro.
Yes, I want to thank the board for doing this and recognizing this event. When we hit our 25th anniversary, we had a big banquet at the Cornhusker Hotel, but because of the pandemic, we can't do anything like that right now. But I really appreciate the board doing this. I've been there for 37 of the 50 years, which seems kind of amazing. Dennis was the elected public defender for 36 years, but not only that, when the office was created, he was the first law clerk. So Dennis's history goes back to the very beginning of the office. And I can tell you, I mean, over the many years, so I think the office started with 3 attorneys, Dennis and maybe a secretary, and now we have 24 attorneys, 43 employees. But I knew from all the years I worked in the office what an extraordinary leader Dennis was, and how he's more responsible for the quality of the office than any other person. But when I became the chief and started going to national meetings, other public defenders would come up and say, well, you have big shoes to fill. And I already knew that. But things like tracking time on cases, we started doing that in 1981. There are still offices that don't do that. We were one of the first offices to have a case management system. We were one of the first to have workload standards. Dennis fought hard to build in a salary structure with the board, to take the politics out of it, that has helped us to keep people. And we have a lot of people who've been there a really long time. And, Dennis was the first person to hire investigators. I added a social worker. When the judges would tell you, when you get our office appointed to represent you, you're getting the best representation in Lancaster County. And people in the system know that, and people nationally know that. And it's been an honor to be part of the office and to lead such dedicated people. The last 9 months has been especially challenging, and people have really responded. But I especially want to pay tribute to Dennis, because more than any other person, he is responsible for the incredible tradition of quality representation that our office provides.
Thank you so much for those comments. And before I open to the other commissioners, I just want to say, Dennis, very good. You've held up very well, sir. That's all I can say. You look good for having been there at the start. Commissioner Shore.
Well, Dennis, it's nice to hear your voice and see your face. I certainly echo everything that Joe said about you, and over the years, the unique opportunities, kind of out of the box thinking, ideas that you've brought forth to the county board to continue to improve the quality of representation in your office. And a lot of that just goes back to you and your quality of leadership. And so thank you for your years of service and for training Joe so very well to carry on that mantle.
Thank you.
All right. Anyone else? Very good. Well, thank you all. Let's. I just want to say I just want to echo the other sentiments really quickly and just say, it's the Public Defender's Office is one of the truly great institutions in our county and really just in our judicial system in general. It's kind of incredible that we live in a country that has an office of the government whose job it is to expressly argue with the government just to find the truth. I mean, it's one of my favorite things about the American judicial system that we pay a group of professional anarchists just to do this, right?
What's one way to put it?
And I mean that with all the love in my heart for that office. It's a great institution. You guys do amazing work. Commissioner Yoakum.
Yeah, I just wanted to add that how much the attorneys of the Public Defender's Office are respected by their peers who are in the private sector, and always describe the attorneys in the Public Defender's Office as some of the very best out there. And so good work for who you hire, who you train, the culture of your department. And thank you very much.
Thank you.
And Roma.
Yeah. I just wanted to say that I think that what we have seen here is history in the making, because both of you have been, Dennis, you've been involved for such a long time, and I've really enjoyed visiting with you during the, I think probably the 4 years shared office, I guess, elected office. But anyway, Joe, it's great working with you. And I think that the Public Defender Office has been doing amazing work. So thank you for your work.
Yeah.
Very good. I think it's very clear to you gentlemen that the board is honored to take this step to honor the work that's done by you two and your office over the last 50 years in our county. If you were here, we'd give you a round of applause, but it loses a lot via Zoom. So there we go. A real short one. Thank you so much, both of you. And with that, we will move on, Mr. Clerk.
6B is a proclamation, the matter declaring January 12, 2021 as the 50th anniversary of the Lancaster County Public Defender's Office.
Move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Flowerday,
Yes.
Shore,
Yes.
Amundson,
Yes.
Yocum,
Yes.
Vest.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. C is a resolution, a matter of fixing salaries for elected officials, chief deputies for the 2021 calendar year, effective December 17, 2020.
Move approval?
Second?
We have a motion and a second to approve. Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Yocum,
Yes.
Flowerday,
Yes.
Shore,
Yes.
Amundson,
Yes.
Vest.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. D is a resolution, a matter of authorizing the chair to sign as chief executive officer and accept the Emergency Rental Assistance Program award terms on behalf of the county board.
Move
Move
approval.
approval?
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve.
I noticed Dave is on here. Can we just get a brief update, knowing that the documents are due, see what,
Today.
Today?
Today.
Yeah.
today?
Yeah. We, yes, let's go ahead and do that now because the next item's tied to this one. But Dave, if, let's go ahead.
These items are ready to go. Director Hoyle has the application prepared as soon as we have the documents approved today. So we will be in ahead of the deadline.
And just to further clarify, this issue is for rent assistance for our county that we are applying for.
That's correct. This is for, this is related to legislation recently passed at the federal level that allows for certain municipalities with a population over 200,000 to apply for rental assistance to keep that at the local level with local control if it's so desired. My understanding is that the city of Lincoln also will be applying, and that this will in no way affect their application. It will be basically, the total amount will be prorated based on our populations. So Lancaster County, by making this application, will be ensuring that we have local control over the use of those funds for the citizens of Lancaster County.
We appreciate that, Dave. And our thanks goes out to Sarah as well for her actions on this. I think we have a motion and a second on this.
Yes, we do.
And so any further discussion? Please call the roll.
Amundson,
Yes.
Yocum,
Yes.
Flowerday,
Yes.
Shore,
Yes.
Vest.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. 6E is U.S. Department of the Treasury Emergency Rental Assistance Program award terms.
Move approval.
Second?
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Shore,
Yes.
Amundson,
Yes.
Yocum,
Yes.
Flowerday,
Yes.
Vest.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. F is a recommendation from the Personnel Policy Board to create an emergency paid sick leave human resources policy bulletin.
Morning, Commissioners. Doug McDaniel, Human Resources. I apologize.
No, Doug, you're fine. Please go ahead.
All right. Thank you. Personnel Policy Board took action on approving this policy extension that the board had requested. It extends emergency paid sick leave from the previous policy 2020-3 into this new year. It does expire at the end of January 2021. The Personnel Policy Board did have some dialogue from one member that wondered if this should be extended beyond that. The balance of the board decided not to, since they were not the benefit of your dialogue and discussion. But we did say that we would bring that at least one item forward for your benefit. I'll be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Doug, do we have any idea of the fiscal impact of this policy since its original institution? How many months ago?
I'm sorry, I don't, Commissioner Shore. I can certainly prepare that information. It'll take a little work to see. Basically, this is the balance of the emergency paid sick leave for people who did not use the full allocation under the original policy. So it would only have impact for those going forward, the balance. But I cannot give you that information. But if that's something the board wants, I'm certainly happy to go about getting that information.
No, it's not necessary. I was just curious.
Commissioner,
Okay.
when this was discussed in December, I had asked for those numbers, and we were talking about $300,000 for all of the pandemic leave, local and federal, that we had used. So that was total up through December.
Okay.
Okay.
I know I was part of some of the discussions in December when we were looking at how long to extend this for. I think really, frankly, we chose 1 month just to extend it through January because we weren't sure what Congress was going to do. And we weren't even sure which party would frankly be in control of Congress and the effects that might have on it. So I certainly wouldn't object to extending it further. But I think that was the logic too, that was, let's just wait and see what they do on the federal level before we got too far ahead of ourselves.
And I believe, Commissioner Flowerday, that's prudent. I will tell you that while we're not seeing anything currently develop on any additional leave packages, we are seeing, that we anticipate something with the new administration after there's the inauguration on January 20th, but that's just speculation at this point. We're also seeing some things at the state legislature, which would have a delayed impact, but accrual of sick leave, it's only in a proposed legislation just at this point, but may have some accrued sick leave for people at 30 hours a week and things such as that. So.
Okay.
If we were to extend it, does it have to go back through the Personnel Policy Board again?
I don't believe so, Commissioner Shore. I think the board, originated this, and they could certainly amend at this point. I don't think the board would have any real concern. They are advisory. They did have dialogue on that. Again, they just didn't know the thinking of the Board of Commissioners at the time, and so they were hesitant because of any fiscal impacts or anything like that. So,
Do we want to maybe take it out through February? That gives Congress 45 days to, do something, and then we'll have a better idea of what the new federal government is looking at.
And we always have the option to go back in and cancel should a different federal or state program, come into place, correct?
absolutely. You could, if there was a new program or policy, it would supersede this policy. So I think that would be, fine. I don't have any opposition to that. It's certainly the board's call on this issue.
Doug, would you say that through February is appropriate, or is that too much, too little in your opinion? I'm open to suggestions on that. I'm just throwing a date out.
Yeah. I'm fairly neutral on that, Commissioner. I think February 28th, I haven't looked at the calendar. I think it's the 28th. I think that is appropriate. I don't think it hurts us in any way, shape, or form. And it's just an extension. And when people exhaust their allocations, it's exhausted, you know. So I don't see any harm in that necessarily.
It sounds like we have two choices before us. That's to approve the January 31st deadline and with the option of extending it at another time if we see that as the best way to proceed, or to extend it to February 28th, the day with the option that we may cancel that if circumstances would indicate that's the right course. We should approve one or the other so we can move forward. Krista?
Yeah, I think I would be in favor of just extending it through the end of February, giving all employees, you know, an understanding, knowing where we're at, given where we're at in the community with, you know, very few people have had the vaccination and that sort of thing. We'll know better in a few weeks where we're at with both the vaccination or any other form of relief.
Okay, thank you.
I would agree. I mean, today's already January 12th, so it's, I think, a reasonable extension.
I'll make the motion then to amend it to February 28th as the sunset deadline for this.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to extend the deadline to February 28th. Any further discussion? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Flowerday,
Yes.
Shore,
Yes.
Amundson,
Yes.
Yocum,
Yes.
Vest.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. G is a right-of-way certificate for the County Federal Aid Highway project for the following: emergency repair of Q080 on Old Cheney Road and wagon train SRR project.
I don't see anyone from county engineering on the call, so I would entertain a motion.
Move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Yocum,
Yes.
Flowerday,
Yes.
Shore,
Yes.
Amundson,
Yes.
Vest.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. H is a settlement agreement and release of subrogation interest between Aviva Canada Inc. and Lancaster County.
Move approval?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, please call the roll.
Amundson,
Yes.
Yocum,
Yes.
Flowerday,
Yes.
Shore,
Yes.
Vest.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. I is a letter to the Lancaster County Planning Department extending the timeline to amend Section 13-048 of the 1979 zoning resolution of Lancaster County.
Thank you to the board for considering this item. As you are well aware that the alterations to the wind energy amendments are scheduled for public hearing on January 20th. I have heard from numerous constituents, both by phone and via email, with requests to provide public testimony. With the holidays and with COVID, the date has surprised some of my constituents, even though it has been mentioned in the paper previously back in 2020. I think the deadline and the upcoming public hearing has surprised some of them, and we're looking for additional time for them to meet as neighbors and to prepare information to provide to the Planning Commission. In addition, there has been some concerns raised about providing testimony in person. Some concerns about, COVID restrictions. Some of the landowners are elderly, and even if they aren't elderly, are concerned about coming down to the city council building and testifying in public. While we do have the opportunity for electronic testimony, there is some concern from some of the neighbors about their comfort in doing so. And in thinking through that conversation, I've used the example in my mind of my own mother. If she wanted to provide electronic testimony, because I certainly wouldn't want her venturing out while we're still in the red zone, the challenges that might present. She's 83, and just to be able to zoom in and then maybe share a screen if there's, a map or some other information. So I was trying, in bringing forth this request, allowing my constituents some flexibility, a little bit more time to prepare, and certainly in hopes that by the time we get to mid-March, that we are out of the red zone and more people have received the vaccination, and there's a greater comfort level in coming down to the city council building to provide public testimony on an item that is very near and dear to their heart.
Thank you, Commissioner Shore. I'm going to
Go
recognize
ahead.
Roma. Excuse me, Sean. Roma was next, and then Sean.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Rick. I do agree with Commissioner Shore. It seems to me that, moving it off for 60 days or whatever is not going to be a significant amount of time for the, shall we say, for the wheels of progress to be set in motion as far as finding the wind turbine sites and things like this, and getting the licensing and whatever the applications. But it is a very significant point, but it is a very significant time for the people who live there. And I do think that this would be a reasonable extension of time, 60 days or to mid-March, and I am fully in support of that.
Okay, thank you. Sean?
Yeah, I would not be in support of this. At the end of the day, we have been talking about this for a very long time. I don't really understand the concerns of how people could be surprised by this. It's been public for 70 days now. The Journal-Star wrote an article about it, and we're also talking about the first of several public hearings, right? We're talking about the planning commission meeting on the 20th. The board meeting isn't even scheduled yet. That's going to come afterwards, probably, I would guess, in the first half of February. I would also say, we've already extended this once. This was originally scheduled for December 16th, and I don't see us pushing back other issues. I don't see us pushing back. We certainly didn't push back the winery here that we just did. We didn't push back other things because of this. I think there is too often this issue, wind power in particular, gets treated differently than others. It gets regulated differently. Back in December when numbers were so high, I was the first to say, let's push it back into January, from December 16th to January 20th. I'm hearing from my constituents, they want this and they're tired of waiting for it. We've talked about this for a long time. I said when we did the 2019, in the early 2019 wind regulations then, that if we didn't see a special permit come through, I was going to try to bring this back up and talk about it again in a year. COVID came, obviously we had different priorities that delayed things more. I think there have been a lot of delays, and I'm not supportive of waiting any further. And I hope people use the Zoom option. That's why we have electronic testimony options. So that's where I'm at. That's my position.
Thank you, Sean. Krista?
Yeah, I'm also hesitant to delay this. I certainly am sympathetic to that effort, but I also feel like I am taking into account every email and phone call that I'm getting, as I'm sure you are, which, while it's not in the official record, I am definitely taking those into deep consideration on this matter. And so I think people do have an opportunity to reach us, whether it's not explicitly in the public hearing, to express their opinions and provide us with whatever information they feel is important.
Okay, thank you.
I
Just
could respond to just a couple of those, Rick.
certainly, Deb.
I mean, when we talk about delays, we did just extend the emergency sick leave declaration for additional month because we still don't know what lies ahead in the next, 30 or 60 days with regards to vaccinations and, whether or not we're in the red or yellow or orange zones. And while there is an opportunity for constituents to provide public testimony in front of the county board, I think there's a significant number of them that want to provide public comment at the Planning Commission in hopes that the recommendation coming out of the planning, that their thoughts and concerns are taken into account by the Planning Commission with regards to the recommendation that comes to our board.
And it's my understanding they can do that via Zoom, right? Or submitted letter.
That's,
I will use an example. I received a phone call last night at 8:30 from a constituent. They had heard about a neighborhood meeting that happened on Sunday and wanted to know, why they weren't notified. I had explained it was a neighborhood meeting, not a, meeting sponsored by the county. And I asked for an email address so I could keep them informed as to what, dates for public testimony would be available. This particular couple did not have an email address. So I think we have to keep into account maybe the various levels of familiarity with technology when we're talking about the opportunity to provide public comment.
okay, thank you. Any further comments? No? Very good. I do understand the concerns listed on both sides today, and I guess we'll go forward one way or another here, but just to say that I appreciate folks wanting to share their opinion with us. We value that here. We've been through that, and we applaud those who do. I do hesitate and quite frankly don't think we should delay this hearing any further. There will be more hearings. I'm in favor of going forward, so I'll leave it at that. Okay then, any further discussion on that item? Mr. Clerk, let's move forward.
There's been no action taken on that item yet.
So what, we need a motion either? Go ahead.
I will move that we send a letter to the planning department requesting a 60-day delay with regards to their upcoming public hearing scheduled for the Planning Commission on January 20th.
And I will second that.
We have a motion and a second to approve. Any further discussion? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Shore,
Yes.
Amundson,
Yes.
Yocum,
No.
Flowerday,
No.
Vest.
No.
Motion fails 3-2.
Okay.
Number 7 is update on COVID-19 and Lancaster County response.
I'm not aware of any updates.
Number 8
The
is
only thing I would, the only thing that I would add on that is it has been shared with me by several state senators that they appreciated Friday's debriefing on COVID-19 with Director Lopez, and they intend to attend the next one. So that's all. Just I think that was a good move. I'm glad we did it.
Appreciate you sharing that. Yeah, Pat attended even though she had attended a funeral of the death of a loved one that day. She still made time to get on with us. It was very helpful. Okay, item 8.
Number 8 is public comment. Those wishing to speak on items relating to county business not on agenda may do so at this time.
I don't see anyone here to speak. We'll move on.
Next is announcements. The Lancaster County Board of Commissioners will hold a staff meeting via Zoom on Thursday, January 14th, 2021 at 8:30 a.m. The Lancaster County Board of Commissioners will hold its next regular meeting via Zoom on Tuesday, January 19th, 2021 at 9 a.m. with the Board of Equalization immediately following. County Commissioners can reach at 402-441-7447 or commission@lancaster.ne.gov. The Lancaster County Board of Commissioners meeting is broadcast live on Link TV City. For the rebroadcast schedule, visit lincoln.ne.gov. Meetings are also streamed live on Link TV and can be viewed on YouTube.
I move we adjourn.
Second?
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Flowerday,
Yes?
Shore,
Yes.
Amundson,
Yes.
Yocum,
Yes.
Best.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you all for your work this morning.